I thought it's time again to do an updated video about my ever-changing travel gear because a few months have already passed since my last one. And as always, I got some new gear, I have some updates on the gear I showed you last time, and yeah, I just thought it's time to do a video like this, so let's jump right in. The first item I could not resist buying is this travel charger from Anchor, who supposedly works in over 200 countries. The reason why I decided to buy it is because compared to other travel chargers that have similar features, it is extremely small and really very lightweight. Here in the back there are 3 different plugs, so we have the standard European one, and here on the side when I slide those buttons forward we have an American one that we can also twist inside, and there's also this one with the thicker prongs. And those 3 plugs, as they say, should cover 200 countries in the world. In terms of charging ports, there are 2 USB-C slots here on the side and 2 USB-A slots here in the front. And what I like very much is that there is also a normal plug, so I can plug in any other charger here in the front and just use this in combination with the other. So the USB-C slots are not the fastest chargers. It can only charge up to 20 watts when you only plug in one thing, I believe. But I like it that I still have the option to plug in my normal, stronger charger if I need it. So I believe this is a handy charger not only for traveling, but also when you need to share a plug with others or outlets with others, for example in hostels. I feel like I could always just politely ask when all the outlets are taken if I can just plug my little thing in between theirs and then start charging my devices. The next new items I got for free to test from Peak Design, and they are their new ultralight packing cubes. Since I usually use smaller packing cubes, I only have this one, which is their extra small, and this size, which is their XX small. And they come in 2 versions. The first one is kind of this weatherproof solid fabric, and the second one is a mesh that is stretchy. So out of those packing cubes, I already found my favorites. So my favorite is this XXS packing cube out of the solid material, because it's great to just keep all my little things together and just throw this little pouch from one bag into the other. And my second favorite is this one in XS. It's the mesh version. And the reason why I like it is here on the side, it has these little holes, which I can also use to like thread through the straps from my backpack. And I'm currently preparing to walk the Camino de Santiago, and my plan is to hang this on the back of my backpack. And my idea at the moment is to use it, for example, to dry my socks or underwear and those things if they don't dry overnight. Just put them in there, and I feel like with the mesh material they should dry through very nicely. Or since it's so stretchy, maybe it will also just end up being my little snack and food pouch for the way. But I will definitely bring it. The next new item is an upgrade of my EDC pouch, which most likely you have already seen in a few of my videos, and that is my Alpaca bag. It is their Alpaca Pouch Max, and I already use it for a few years, even though you would not really see it because it's still in excellent condition. But the 2 little things that annoyed me a little bit about this bag was first the jingle of the zippers and also that it was just a tiny little bit too small for my iPad mini. So when Alpaca recently offered me to send me a few bags to test, I did not hesitate and asked them for the Flight Sling 2 liter, which is just, as you can see, just a little bit bigger than my existing one, a little bit wider, but in this one my iPad actually fits very nicely. And I've already been using it for a few weeks and I really enjoyed it. I like that it looks very sleek and simple, and it just has a few compartments. For example, here in the front there is like a bigger compartment. In the main compartment there is a little bit of a cushioned iPad sleeve, which is very useful for me. A bigger compartment, and then there's two more like compartments where you can slide in smaller things. And here in the back is another compartment, which they say is great for a passport. I personally would not put my passport there because there is no closure, no magnet, no zipper, no nothing, and I'm afraid that I would lose it. But I find it a great compartment to just, for example, put in some hand sanitizer wipes and tissues and all those things, and they're very easily reachable on the go. The only thing that I changed is that I switched the strap back to the one that I had on the other pouch, just because the strap that comes with this pouch has one of those magnetic closures, and I carry all my valuables and everything inside of this pouch. I don't want there to be a closure or a buckle that anybody can open easily. But I think it's a great design choice that I was able to just change the straps and use the ones that I like best. And it's great that I have the opportunity to do that. The next two items have been very useful for me over the last summer, and I realized the other day that I never showed them to you. And this is my traveling anti-mosquito kit. As you may have already heard me say several times, for some reason mosquitoes really love eating me. And I'm a little bit allergic, so then I always get this huge itchy bumps, and I always try to avoid that as much as possible. And these two items help me a lot. So this one is a little thing that helps me reduce the itch when they actually bite me, and this one is actually a mosquito repellent device. But let's start with this one. I already showed it recently in my video where I talk about my favorite apps, and it's just a very simple thing that I plug into my... Again, I cannot open it again. That also happened the last time. I should stop using hand creams. Okay. So this device is very simple. I just plug it here into my phone. Mine comes with a USB-C, but there are other options available for different types of phones. And then I start it in the app, and then this part here heats up, and I just put it on my bite, and then it helps me a lot with the itch. And in the past, I always traveled with one of those big bite-away pens, which I think I also showed in a few of my videos. But when it broke, I upgraded to this one because it saves me a lot of space. But then, obviously, it's even better to try to avoid to be bitten in the first place. And that's why last year, when I was in Spain, I purchased this Nitecore mosquito repellent device. Where we stayed in Spain, there were just lots of mosquitoes around. And unfortunately, on the terrace, there was no electricity to really plug in a normal repellent thing that you would buy in a supermarket. So I decided to buy this one from Nitecore because it runs with USB-C, and I can just plug my power bank into it and use it wherever I want to. They have a few versions that have included batteries that you could recharge, but I personally just opted for the smallest device they have, because I prefer much more to have it small and just run it with my own power bank. And there's also this attachment that you can add to it to be able to tie it onto your backpack or the straps. It's very easy. So once I plug it into my power bank, I just turn it on and then it gets hot. And in here, there is one of those sheets, and this lasts for a few hours. Now, as you can see, because I kept one so I can show it to you, this one is a little bit bigger than the ones you would usually get in the supermarket, but the cheap ones are usually exactly half the size of this one. So what I did with the cheaper ones is I would just push in two, so next to each other, because then that fits perfectly. But then I did not push them in all at the same time. I would just push in a new one of the smaller ones every 2 hours. And I feel like it works a little bit better because then you always have an older one and a newer one together in there. And you always have one that has lots of the ingredients against the mosquitoes. The only thing I wish I could remove is here, this little plastic part at the back. I mean, I understand why it's there. It's so I can attach this holder for my backpack. But considering that most of the time I just use it on the terrace, I would much more prefer to have this thing being removable, so it's easier to pack. But I think it's rather small, so that's really complaining on a high level. The next item I upgraded is the Sea to Summit Airlight Towel. And as you may know from my packing video, I already owned the X-large version for many, many years. And it still looks great. There is just a little bit of fraying, like around the edges, but nothing bad, honestly. I was expecting it to be much worse, considering that there is no hemming on the borders. And obviously there are a few stains that I can't remove anymore, but that's really not the fault of the towel. About a year or two ago, I don't even remember, I also added the extra small version to my gear, just because I liked it so much and I wanted to have one very small packable towel that I can use sometimes to wash my face, or where it's also very handy when I go to the beach and I want to get the sand off of my feet before I go back into my shoes to avoid blisters and stuff. So as you can tell, I really enjoy using those towels. The only thing that I did not like about the XL was the size, because it was very, very long, but not so much narrow. And I wanted it to cover sometimes at the beach, like from here to down there. And unfortunately for that, it was a little bit too short. So it was cover it either here or cover it there, but not both. So I decided to buy the large version, which is a little bit shorter, but a little bit wider. And now it covers both. Barely, but it covers them. So those were basically all the new additions to my gear, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the things that I mentioned last time, because I have a few updates about that. So the first thing is the NB Air power bank from Nitecore that I showed you the last time, that Nitecore was kind enough to send me to test for free. Many of you were asking for the link where you can buy it, and by now it's officially released. So I added the link in the other video, and I will also add it here in the description. Now, after using this power bank for a few months, I still really enjoy using it because it's just so small, so slim, and it's very, very lightweight. So for me, it's the perfect power bank to just slide it into my EDC and bring it with me to keep my things going during the day. The next item is also a power bank I was talking about last time, and that is this one from Anker with the integrated lightning plug from my husband, which already broke for the second time. So we reached out to Anker again, and for the second time they just sent us a free replacement. So I hope that this one now lasts a little bit longer, because I'm not sure how long they will keep sending them. But at the moment we are very satisfied with their customer service. They are even actually always reaching out a week or two later asking if everything is okay, and I really appreciate that. And the third item that broke on me the last time was this tube from Matador, where you can refill toothpaste and stuff. There is this little clip here in the back that closes it, and inside of this clip there is this little stick, and this stick broke off. So unfortunately it's not really usable anymore. So I reached out to Matador to ask them if there's any chance to get this part as a replacement part, because I think the rest is still more than okay. Unfortunately, there is no replacement part for this end of the tube, which in my opinion is the part that is most likely to break, just because this little stick is so thin. The only thing they offer as a replacement part that you can order on their website is this side, so the little screw on top. But then again, they are based in the US, I am in Europe, so just paying for shipping and customs and all those things for this little replacement part would not be very economical. So unfortunately, the time of this one is over. So even though we had a short time together, I really liked using it, and maybe one day there will be a newer version with a better clip, and then I will happily buy it again. And the last item that I wanted to give you a quick update about are my Soundcore sleep buds that I use for sleeping. I'm still very, very happy with them. They help me sleep a lot better. I mean, I'm still waking up every once in a while at night, and then I read for hours. But at least I don't wake up all the time anymore because there's any noise around me. It does a really excellent job to just blend it out. There were lots of situations where Everson was awake and I did not hear anything, which is very unusual for me because usually I wake up with every little noise. But the biggest test for them will obviously be in the next few weeks, because I'm going to walk the Camino de Santiago and sleep regularly in the albergues, and there you have like the big dorm rooms with lots of people snoring, whatever else will be happening. And usually I would be dreading those nights already, but I'm a little bit more relaxed now thinking about them, just because I have my trusty sleep buds. The only little downside I noticed so far about them is that the battery life already dropped a little bit. In the beginning I charged them every 7 days. Now I have to charge them every 6 days. I know that because I always have a reminder in my to-do app to plug them in. And the last few times it already ran out before the 7 days were over. And the only other issue I noticed is that sometimes when I sleep on my side, especially on harder pillows, sometimes the sound is gone, but as soon as I move it's back. So I don't know if it's just me and my ear and this thing being a little bit in a different angle that blocks the sound, or if the Bluetooth signal drops. I have not figured that out yet, but again, it's very rarely and it immediately stops as soon as I move. But obviously I will keep an eye on it. Or an ear. I will keep an ear on it. So these were a few more updates on my ever-changing travel gear. If you want to get more updates like this, then consider subscribing to my channel, or maybe even to my monthly newsletter. And other than that, thanks for watching and I see you in the next video. Bye!